introducing the true all-in-one unit. So this thing has been in the works for a couple months. So I'm gonna kind of give you the narrated version of what all is going on here. So I'm gonna throw a picture up right now of the old shop. I had a nice 3rd-car garage, everything laid out, everything organized, everything had its home. So we come up into this new adventure of basically house renovations. And having said that, I needed to make my garage mobilized. So that's what we're looking at right here, is my garage on wheels that I could just roll up on the trailer and then immediately be able to turnkey right away. So a lot of obstacles I had were taking items I already owned and fitting them into a 4-foot by 8-foot footprint. So 4-foot by 8-foot was a standard size, but it's also the size of that trailer, the holding trailer. So I'm trying to stay in my parameters that way, and also height. In order to keep certain components, like I had a toolbox over here and things like that, I needed to keep a certain distance of height for that's comfortable for me. I'm 6'3", to be standing and working on, but also have full functionality. Nothing's wasted. This would be ideal to make all your own cabinets yourself, because then you can customize it. But again, moving from a 2-car garage and a 3rd-car garage, I had extra gear that I didn't want to just get rid of. It costs a lot of money, so I don't want to waste it. So that's kind of where all this Frankenstein stuff's coming into play. So since we're over here, let's kind of go over this toolbox. There's a little wood top, and it was wasted, so I just added some drawer slides. Now this would be better to do undermount slides. I just actually have regular slides that are meant to be mounted vertical up and down. So I added 4 just to add additional down pressure. Now this is going to be, so there's kind of best to explain this. This is usually the area I'll do my dowel jig or Craig pocket hole jig. The reason is there might be an instance where there's a door frame or panel that's clamped down, and I just want a secondary surface to work without having to get in the way of where I'm gluing or whatnot. So that's where this little bonus feature comes into play. And then of course I showed you all my tools stored up there. This is the downdraft sanding table. So this works really, really well. I have it, the bottom piece is tapered to where the sides are only like 1.5 inches, to where it forces the vacuum to get drawn into this region here. So you can see this is actually a dust hood vent that I use. Just put it upside down and it's all sealed in, perfectly airtight. So when I'm sanding here, it does take all the airborne particles and suck them back down. And then this is that belt sander that folds out, so it's really useful. This is a heavy tool too. I think it was around 50 pounds or something, and that pulls up no issues because it's spring assisted. we'll go over to the vacuum side just so I can kind of explain. I used to have my whole shop on those wastegates so I could open and close all my ports, but I found that they leaked too bad and I didn't like it, so I just made a really simple system. Every single hose is the tool I want to use, right? So this just pulls out, and then I have them labeled, color coded, so I could just pull this out, put it in the tool area I need, and then I have full isolated vacuum. So that's that. And I have a little motion sensor LED light too, so whenever I get in here it automatically turns on. And then this region here was actually set to have a vertical mount air compressor that runs right through the other side of this wall into the air reel. Right now all my tools are battery powered, so I'm not needing it, but I definitely built this with long-term thoughts and having one installed there. So that's kind of where this hose reel comes into play, right down there. So, and then you can see up there I have the extension cord pull out. So this is my main feed power wire right here, and that's, you know, self-explanatory. But say I have a hand tool or my router joiner or whatever up front, if I want extension, I could just pull this out and have another 30 foot of basically extension cord that's nice and organized. And I have these little pulleys to keep the cords nice and organized. And then for this lift top on the drill press, I actually had to make a hole going all the way to the floor. So I just use this vacuum wire they actually would use for like your CNC dust shoe. So I just use that, so as this falls down, it rubs up into here. There's another lift bench. This thing's super legit. So it locks into place, and then you just remove these tabs and it spring loads itself back in. And then I had, this was kind of a big thing, I had a lot of long 3 foot and 2 foot clamps, and I don't want to continually have like crap hanging up on the wall. I want to make, each time we move the house to house to like do our flips, it might be, you know, 6 months or sooner, so the less holes I have to fill, the better. Like the only thing that's up on this wall in this garage is these cabinets, and even this cabinets hook on to that Craftsman, well, Versa stack or Versa track, what do they call it? It just hangs on. So having that is kind of the reason why I'm trying to incorporate all my storage inside this unit. So that's where this pull-out shelf comes in handy. And then to keep it lightweight, I actually just doubled up on this pegboard and then put a little wooden frame around it for some skeleton strength. But that fully extends out. Push it back in. Have other minor clamp storage. And then over here, the same track system. And then drill press gear. I have some of that gear built in. And then aside from that though, this is all perfectly level. So that's something I didn't have before because I had the folding table. So this is now no seams, no gap. This is all exactly smooth, and this is actually dry erase board on the other side and then chalkboard on this side. So this is just stapled in place. So when this gets beat up, this sheet is like a couple bucks. So I could just rip this off. It's not glued. I could just rip it off, and I'll expose my particle board sub base. Pull that off, put a new one on, and it's just easy, cheap maintenance. And then I got my new table saw. Again, everything I wanted battery powered as much as possible. So this is the cordless DeWalt 60 volt max. This thing is the best purchase. You know, I should have done this a long time ago, but I added a little bag to this, and it really does a good job keeping the dust concentrated with the vacuum on the back in this. And of course, you know me, so everything's battery powered. So right now, the vacuum makes it really easy to keep clean. So that's this tool, and then inside here we have my planer. And DeWalt makes two planers. There's a tall one like this that's cheaper, and then there's a low profile one. Now this is what I already had, so I'm working around the tool. So what I did is, I know I needed to maintain a certain height to match the rest of this and also have a good outfeed. So the hurdles I came up with is, I know the distance of my table saw, but then I also know the height of this and this little handle. So what I decided to do is mount it to this side and then just make a cutout for that handle so I could access the height of the blade, and then I could also remove it this way if I needed to do maintenance on it. But the idea is to have foam board on the back of these, because this is the messiest tool I have in the shop. So the idea is have this closed for not just sound absorption, but it also keeps all the chips of wood contained in this little cavity. So all I have to do is just vacuum this out. And then this is also where I'm storing the jointer, and as you showed, this is a nice little pull-out shelf for that jointer. The vacuum line attaches right to it. Pretty simple storage for that. Inside this, you know, I could have left this an open shelf, but my God, this would be really sick to have an extra little storage unit, but have it in a detailed kind of fun manner with that weird angle. So inside here is all my hand router gear. So we have our plunge base, the cordless DeWalt router, which is phenomenal, and this is all the router gear, like the bits and whatnot. So it's gonna give me a little LED light for there too. And then this is the router table, and this is just a really bad silicone job, but I just silicone all the gaps. And then this reduces the noise quite a bit. But we have the router where I had to do my fine-tuning adjustments, and then we have an ample amount of storage in the back. So the fence actually stores up here, so I'm ready to use it. The fence pulls out, attaches in here, and that same hose that was used for the joiner is also now for the fence of the router table. And then this is also works as any hand tools. So this piece right here just pulls out, but this is the adapter for most hand tools. And then this would be like full vacuum diameter for the all the other bigger tools. So the router, again, there's a vacuum port for the fence, and then there's also another little vacuum port right up into here. So I have two channels to keep this chamber nice and clean. And what else? Yeah, integrated power on the outside. The reason you see this blue tape is because my little red safety thing, I used it a lot pulling it on and off, but I broke one of the prongs. So right now I just have this flushed where I wouldn't accidentally ever catch it. I was intentional on putting all this here for a reason, so that way if I'm working up against it, there's no chance that I'm actually going to lift and turn it on. And if it really came down to it, I would just unplug it from the back. But I just kind of show you the sound with it, with the door closed and all that. Definitely one of the louder tools I have, but this helps out quite a bit. And then again, I was already kind of talking to you about that area. So the next thing is we had this old cabinet that we had bought for super cheap that we were gonna throw up in the house above the bathroom area, above the toilet. What I did is I just cut an opening out of that front raised panel, and I inserted a piece of acrylic so that way I could, you know, see through it. So this was the old organizers I had in the other garage. I basically pulled them out, cut the top one in half so I could fit it fully. And this is basically all the gear I need: my bolts, dowels, pocket hole plugs, hardware, hinge stuff, drill bits, screws, you know, all the goodies go in here. So then I could easily just take this out if I'm doing a big project, use it, and then put it back. So that's one way I incorporated this. And then of course, you know, you can't do anything without your fancy Thor hammer. But what else, man? I think I also have the track system here. So I have these little work clamps. This is the only drawer that's really not organized yet. But that way I could feed something like this into this T-slot. And oh, I think I grabbed the, anyways, clamp something down if I'm planing it or whatnot. But those fit all throughout here. And then I think that's like the gist of it. Obviously you've seen it's on wheels. The wheels all lock down, so I could rotate this anywhere in the shop. So the beauty is this is only a 2-car garage, but I got the CNCs over there on their wheeled station. All this stuff's on wheels. This storage is on wheels. This little cabinet is on wheels. My little safety zone. And then again, more organization down here. But the whole premise of this all-in-one is really just being more clever with space, because I don't have a lot of space. So I'll be doing more detailed videos on the garage itself, all the modifications I had to do. But this video though is primarily all broadcasting this. So I think most all-in-ones I've seen have like 3 tools. So I think I'm holding the new standard when people say all-in-one, that it needs to be all-in-one. So I think that's it. I think I gave you guys a pretty good demonstration of what this thing has to offer, and then we'll get into all the other goodies on another video. But yes, I think we will just end it like this. Thanks for watching. See you later.